I would notice myself, napping more, needing to take more sleep times, severe headaches, and then it became headaches with exercise. It was frustrating because everyone just thought I was depressed. I do start to feel some depression with it. I was just angry. I don't feel good, and so when my son started to he's hitting his teen years, just family dynamic was very difficult because of how I felt without patience. Now I can walk up a mountain and there's no whisper of a headache anymore. I can go drive in an hour and a half and take care of my mom after surgery. I can be the one to get her food and help her out for a day or two versus arrive there, have a headache, be zero help to anyone, and make everybody feel bad because I just need to be in a room and walking the track for an hour and a half while my kids are at soccer, which is nothing. Just it's a flat track. So at least I feel like there's things that are nothing. That's nothing for me now. So now I can help other people.
How's it going, Thrivers? Miguel here from CFS Recovery. In this video, we have Leah, who's been on quite the journey. She had this, 8 or 9 years ago. That's when the symptoms really started. And, at her worst, she was still kind of functional, but very symptomatic. It was tiring just getting through the day for many, many years. She dealt with this for a long time, but now she's hiking, cooking for the family, spending quality time with the family, active again, and never really worries about symptoms. She's able to live her life and just get back into the world again. So it's super awesome to see. But Leah, you want to quickly introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah. Hi, I'm Leah, Leah Mines, and I live in the western part of North Carolina and have been suffering with chronic fatigue, like you said, for a very long time. Felt very alone until I found this group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're crushing it. You're absolutely crushing it now with the progress you've made and how far you've come in just a very short period of time compared to how long you've had this for. So let's rewind the clock a little bit here. A lot of the symptoms, they started 8 or 9 years ago. How did this all start? Do you remember? Was it all at once or was it a slow burn over time?
It was slow over time. I would notice myself, napping more, needing to take more sleep times. I guess would be the biggest thing I noticed. Pain. I noticed headaches starting, severe headaches, and then it became headaches with exercise or some of the other symptoms. I noticed when I would go out climbing, my climbing partner would kind of look at me like, wow, you're just taking a lot longer to get to the start of the climbs. I was falling behind with everything I was doing.
I see. And what triggered it? Was there a particular instance or just came out of nowhere?
Seemingly came out of nowhere. I would say my second son, my adopted son, put a bit more stress on my family. I own my own business, a large business, and with my first son, when the second son came, I would say that probably was part of the tipping point of what my body could handle.
I see. So you started getting all these weird symptoms, a lot of pain started coming up, headaches, things like that. How bad did it get? And when did you notice that, okay, this is a pretty serious problem and it's not going away anytime soon?
So I tried to ignore it for about 8 years. I did my best to just power through. If I would try and just jog to the point that do as little as I could without getting too bad a headache, doing, just what I could and trying to ignore as much as I could until you couldn't ignore it anymore. It was impossible to ignore.
Mm-hmm. And what was going through your mind when this started becoming a serious issue in your life and it was stopping you from doing all the things you wanted to do? What was going through your mind in the beginning of all of this?
What's wrong with me? I didn't understand what was wrong with me. And I would say to my significant other, there's something wrong with me. I just don't know what it is. And went through my mind to go see, specialists, go see people, find a specialist, try to find an answer for why.
Mm-hmm. And what were they saying, the specialists and doctors?
Going to the doctors for 5 years, 8 years at least, I was always asking and explaining the pain. And what were they saying? Let's check this, check that, do blood work. There's nothing coming up. There was just no answer until finally one day I went to a really good internist, and he came up with, he was sitting there and he said, I think what you have is chronic fatigue syndrome. And I, being a doctor, read quite a bit, and I just stopped my foot down and said, I don't want that. Like, of all the disease, I'm thinking of some pretty severe diseases to be going on, and I certainly didn't want a disease like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So they weren't really finding out what was going on, or like the tests were coming back normal, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
These things, the
Mm-hmm.
scan. Did
Yeah.
you ever get diagnosed with something like fibromyalgia because you had so much pain?
No, not really. And it didn't start to be just muscular pain. I mean, it would be back pain, which is muscular pain, but that typical just your muscle pain was starting at that time, when I kind of realized what was going on, and you helped me kind of turn it around. I don't really want it to go any further.
Yeah. So sounds like pain was your main thing, but you also got hit with a lot of fatigue,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So what was that like for you? I mean, everybody watching this right now, they know what a flare-up feels like, how it feels like to go out and do something and be wiped out for a few days or a few weeks, maybe even months.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
what was it like for you? Because you were pretty functional throughout all of this, but how was that dealing with the fatigue?
When it finally became severe, it was frustrating because everyone just thought I was depressed. That was frustrating, to be in bed and sort of to be judged, instead of listening to me and saying, hey, I don't, it doesn't feel like that. It feels just like I can't. And eventually, you do start to feel some depression with it, but it was frustrating because it wasn't depression. I was just angry I wasn't out climbing. So, did I answer your question?
Yeah. What was my question again? It was, what was it like getting that fatigue? So yeah, it was frustrating because there weren't any answers, right? No one was helping.
Yeah. And it led to, because no one could kind of understand what was going on, and I didn't understand what was happening either. I, kind of lashed out at my family. I don't feel good, and so when my son started to he's hitting his teen years, just family dynamic was very difficult because of how I felt, without patience. My typical demeanor wasn't there at all. So, and that was just devastating for my family.
Mm-hmm. That's actually something that's not talked about too often, but it's a very real issue that comes up with dealing with this stuff, because you're going through all this pain, no one really understands, and you can be very irritable as well.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
I remember I didn't even like being with my own thoughts, like let alone other people. And
right.
it's like this other Miguel would take over. It's like, my grandma would bring me food, but she opens the door and I'm like, the door opens so loud because my
Mm-hmm.
hearing sensitivity is up. I'm like, why do you open the door so loud? But these people are just trying to help, but sometimes we can lash out.
Yeah. Exactly the sound. My husband loves to listen to music while he's making dinner, and I would arrive home from work like, oh, this is that. So yeah, that same thing, the noise.
Yeah, it was the noise, or
Visual.
if someone's even trying to talk to you to ask you how you're feeling, like, what do you think I feel? I feel horrible, just like I felt horrible yesterday and last week and last month. So it's we're definitely not the most pleasant people to be around,
Right.
because especially with pain, I found that with pain, if it's fatigue, it's like, okay, I can kind of deal with it. But with pain, there's so much built up frustration and kind of like anger,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like you're battling this thing inside.
Mm-hmm.
You don't even know what you're battling against. And
Mm-hmm.
it's like you're getting beat up from your nervous system. Someone's
Yes.
bullying you and beating you up.
Yes.
What to do about it? So you
Yeah.
lash out.
Yeah.
Right. So what are some of the things that you did try over the years to try and fix these things? Like, did you try medication and different treatments?
Um, yeah, I tried, I don't know what you'd call that kind of doctor, but, not an endocrinologist to deal with your hormones, but like a specialty doctor that, looks closer at your thyroid, looks close at your testosterone levels, and does different things to boost your energy. So I was put on thyroid hormone. I was put on, testosterone pellets, which gave me great energy to continue with my parade of mountain biking. I could mountain bike faster and I
Yeah.
could keep up. What else did I do? That's probably the main thing I did to try and keep my body going, keep up with everything I needed to do. I did things at work to shorten, get out of everything I could to not be in that exam room and find a place that I could be comfortable away from work. A
Mhm.
full day became pretty hard to deal with. What else did I do to sort of, oh gosh, and that is exactly what you do is you try and pinch every little area you can to keep yourself in the game.
Yeah. Were you going to things like massage and acupuncture for the pain?
Regular massage, regular acupuncture.
I remember because I used to do that too. And it would honestly help for about
Yeah.
an hour. And then
Yeah.
after that, my pain would typically flare up right back to where it was at, or if not get worse.
Yeah.
But it was a good temporary relief because I remember I forgot what it was even like to have no pain. I had a lot of headaches, tension headaches, migraines, and then it would spread down to like my neck.
Yes.
Then I'd feel
Yes.
nauseous. That was the
Yes.
worst. So
Yes.
to get that hour of relief was nice, but didn't
Yeah.
stick.
Yeah. The headaches were just, yeah, they come at the worst times.
Mhm. Mhm.
I would carry around with me on trips and everywhere a little injectable that I could inject and go to sleep for an hour and then be able to be back on my way.
Mhm.
That happened to work for me, but
Yeah. I just remember every Christmas and New Year's for a few years, I just have a headache and
mhm,
the noise sensitivity when everybody's cheering and opening up presents, I was just like gritting my teeth. I'm like, I hate this. I don't want to
mhm,
be here. I don't
mhm.
like this. And I think that's what can really get under your skin is when you're in a situation where you should be able to enjoy yourself and be excited and happy, it's actually making you feel worse.
Yep.
That's like the ultimate isolation I found, at least,
Yes. Yeah.
because everybody else is having fun while you're feeling worse and worse and worse as people are getting happier and happier.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I'm a
Exactly.
broken, I'm a broken human. Something's wrong with me.
I'm a broken human. I'm going to my mom's now and I'm going to crawl in the bed there. You all have fun at my house.
Yeah, exactly. I remember a
Um,
lot of those times.
and and again, people don't understand that and their feelings are hurt and, text messages such as never coming to your house again because you crawled off and you acted like you didn't want to see us. Oh my gosh, I swear I had a headache.
Yeah.
So it's just this awful family dynamic thing that and there I am stomping my feet, like I'm doing the best I possibly can with what I've got going. I really promise I am. Please understand.
Oh, if only they knew that that's like the salt in the wound. It's like, wow, you didn't want to hang out with us. Like, trust
Yeah.
me. You have no idea how bad I wanted to hang out with you.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
man. I remember one Christmas, I was upstairs. Oh, worst migraine ever. Like I couldn't even eat food that whole day. It was Christmas Day, and then everybody was downstairs cheering. And then
Oh,
they do their rotations. Like one person would come upstairs, massage my feet for a little bit, then go back downstairs, back to have fun. Then my other aunt comes upstairs, scratches my head, and goes back downstairs. I was like, this is messed up. I'm
yeah.
22 years old. I should be down there having fun.
Yeah.
And
Especially at that age, I bet it was hard.
yeah, oh yeah, it was crazy. So you go through multiple years of that, 8 years. So then you found us.
Yeah.
What made you decide to start working with us? Because I'm sure you were watching the free YouTube videos and everything, and at some point you were like, well, let me take this to the next level. let's jump in. What made you make that jump?
Yeah. Your videos made sense to me. As a doctor, everything added up. Everything you were saying, that I couldn't poke a hole in anything that you were talking about in the pre-videos before I even talked to you or Krista. And then in the pre-phone calls where you're screening patients such as myself, there would be no way I wouldn't, grab onto something after having looked everywhere that I could think of for answers. Even after a diagnosis, the answers are not there, and so answers that made sense and answers that, yeah, everything just made sense to me.
Hmm.
And then the phone call where you know I got to talk to one of you all. I was just so moved to have found somebody that understood. It just unbelievably moved, which provides the impetus to, that is everything in my world, to do my homework on this, really get down to work, put everything, all my time, everything I had into that.
Hmm. Yeah. And I think it's very similar for almost everybody who comes on board. It's the fact that it actually makes total sense. The YouTube videos and the
Mhm.
principles and the concepts, like that actually makes sense. The hypersensitive nervous system, the way we break it down. And once it kind of clicks, that's when people decide to make the jump. Because just like you said, you can have the diagnosis, but a lot of people, they're looking for that diagnosis, but they don't realize that is the beginning of the rabbit hole.
Yes.
Because you
Yeah.
could get the diagnosis, but they don't really give you a solution or
You
tell you what to
know.
do.
Yeah.
It's like, well, here's your diagnosis, and here are the meds to help you cope with the symptoms. Or now you can go on disability for the rest of your life
Hmm.
and manage this. But
Hmm.
it's not really a long-term solution.
Right.
So for you, what were some of the biggest mind shifts you had? I'm sure there were so many, but
Mhm.
for people watching this right now and they're thinking, what did she do to get better? How did she go from headaches every day and lots of pain to hiking and rock climbing? What were some of
Yeah.
the biggest things that helped you?
I watched those videos over and over, and attended, lots and lots of phone calls with the group. But one of the neat videos is about that you're going to get on a train, and there's not going to be enough room in that train car for everything that you've had with you historically. So as I watched my life in the year, it helped me be okay with losing some things rather than just really choosing to struggle over that these things don't fit in the train car. And, just having the tools when things came up in my life in the last year to know how to handle them,
Hmm.
or do my best to know how to handle them.
Yeah. And respond well and pretty much do the best you can that's in your control. What were some of those things that you did have to let go of in order to get on that train and move forward in your
Yeah.
recovery?
So as often as I could, I tried to just let go of general stressors that there was not anything I could do about it. And in my particular situation, it was a pretty tough stressor. I was separated from my husband the same week as the diagnosis came. So I, did my best to just accept that, handle that. I ended up choosing to, my husband and I, after about a year, chose to get back together. I had to, in order to do that, get rid of two pets. And as a veterinarian, that's just not something that you do. So it was really hard to choose to simplify our lives, knowing that I just didn't have the strength to take care of this young Labrador. Not that I brought him in purpose on purpose into my life. He was put into my life because he couldn't have a home with who he had a home with. But anyway, so just knowing that those choices were healthy choices in my life, instead of sad. They're sad choices, but choices that had to be made to make my life livable. There's just too much on my plate. Anytime I sort of looked at my plate, if something had to fall off, even though it was hard, I kind of was okay letting it go
Mm-hmm.
to make
Mm-hmm.
my life easier.
Yeah. So it's really prioritizing your health number one, even if you have to feel like you're sacrificing things that you love. Because ultimately, the most important thing is the health. And that's something a lot, we really try to instill that with you
Yeah.
guys in the program, because
Yeah.
without the health, you wouldn't be able to take care of the dog as well as you could, or do
Exactly.
all these other things. You are your health is the foundation to be able to give back to those around you, right?
Well said. Yes.
Yeah. So letting go of things, that is absolutely huge. A lot
Hmm.
of people think they need to add on to their recovery, but
Hmm.
really a lot of it is letting go of certain things. It could be physical things like a dog, but also another thing you probably did, within the program, we tell people what is the baggage that we're carrying?
Hmm.
What are the personality traits? Like
Hmm.
super type A personality, perfectionist, go, go, go. How do we tone that down a bit?
Right.
Because it may have led to accomplishments in the past, but it also led to us maybe working a little bit too much or pushing
Yeah.
too hard. So is that something you had to do as well? Is dial
Yeah.
that
For sure. I've accepted a life that is much less busy.
back? Yeah.
Accepted, and then I'm enjoying a life that is much less busy.
Mhm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Because busy doesn't always mean productive. Busy can just mean busy for the
Yeah.
sake of being busy to feel like you're being productive,
Yeah.
but it can work against you. So, what was your first big mind shift when you started really implementing these principles, or what was your first biggest win where you thought, "Wow, this I could be getting somewhere here. This could be it. This could
Mhm.
be leads to full recovery." What was that first big win for you?
I think n- waking up without pain, realizing that the pain was going away, and the things like vertigo, as those things started to drop off. I haven't had vertigo in a long time. So the wins were the big physical symptoms stopping, headaches stopping. Those were the biggest wins for me.
Mhm. Roughly how long did it take for you to have your first day waking up and there was no pain?
I would say it probably took 4 to 6 months for headaches dropped away kind of quickly. Let's see, no, 4 months. 4 months.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, like on the way there, they were also coming down quite a bit. But for you to
Hmm.
wake up with no pain, it was about 4 months.
Yeah.
And for you, the pain, it was the brain retraining for chronic pain.
It was the whole thing. The brain retraining. I did some of that. I wouldn't say that was my top. Um, was it my top? I was doing it. um,
Yeah,
I
like
was.
what made the pain go away for you? For people watching this and they're thinking, what the heck did she do to
Yeah.
make
What?
the pain go away?
Yeah. I was doing everything in the list. So I did some of that journaling stuff, writing down a lot of the things that were holding me back and just trying to realize those things. You know, I couldn't say one thing, all the things together. If I could guide someone, you just have to do the program, really. It's a big program. It's not not one thing. Yeah.
So just do the program, then they'll find out.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's hard to put the program into just a couple words.
Yeah, it is hard to pinpoint. So yeah, because for different people, there's different things that work. It's kind of like you implement a whole bunch of things, but they all kind of work together because as you calm the nervous system down, it also calms the pain down, a lot of other symptoms. And there are certain things you can do specifically for something like pain. I always say brain retraining for chronic pain. But
Mhm.
the other things also tie into that because the pain is coming from a hypersensitive nervous system, So obviously, the less stress you have, the less pain you will have. And stress could be physical, mental, emotional. A lot of times we don't realize the things that are triggering us every few minutes of the day,
Mhm.
or how important mindset is, because the thoughts we have and the ways that we think stimulates different parts of our brain that trigger symptoms. And
Mhm.
people people think mindset is just all airy fairy. Oh, it's all in your mind, but it's actually a physical thing happening in your brain.
Mm-hmm.
The way you think different thoughts. But for you, as you were on this journey, how impactful was it being able to interact with other people on the same journey as you, who understood what you're going through?
Yeah, extremely. I was lost, lost at sea out there by myself, and the support of other people dealing with this disease in the same way, unspeakably helpful to my recovery. Gosh, yeah. If you could put it in a few words, just having the small group that you're chatting with a couple times a week to lean on and laugh with, and being led by the presenter. The presenter, your employees have this knack for going right to where they need to go with the person that they're working with, and over it's right where you needed what you needed to point out for that person at that time. And just being shown that, on a twice a week basis was really helpful. Not being lost anymore was just so motivating, that you knew there were other people out there taking a step just like you, and people that were, much having a much harder time than I was having at the start too, that were having to take hard steps. Just extremely motivating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always tell people it's kind of like having a safety net, because especially when you're in flare ups, if you can go talk to somebody or even just get some feedback from somebody who understands what you're going through, it just makes you feel less alone.
Yep.
It can be very isolating.
Yes.
You have,
Yes, extremely isolating. And just, when I was able to talk to Krista, there were a couple times I was just really having a hard time, and even the groups weren't enough. I just wanted to talk to her. I was able to talk to Krista, and she gave me a little path to get on. So help illuminate a path to take.
mm-hmm.
And it's simple things like finish your tea. If you're having a cup of hot tea, go ahead and sit there and finish it. And that sounds so non-important, but for someone that needs a path made, some things you can do, life-saving, to have a path help making that path to recovery.
Mm-hmm.
There, you can see where you're going.
And for the flare ups, let's talk about that. When you increase activity and you would have flare ups, how did you handle those? What was just for people who aren't familiar with, kind of how to get through those, and they're still seeing them as crashes and setbacks, and seeing the symptoms as bad, how did you get through those flare-ups and adjustment periods?
So I did all number of things, but one thing I did is just let my significant other know, who is not my significant other, hey, I'm having a really bad day. You're going to have to help. Not you're going to have to, but can you help me get through this day by, ABC. So admitting that you're having a hard time to those around you was what I did.
Mm-hmm. And what did you do internally? Like, how did you shift your perspective on the flare-ups? Because before, just like everybody with CFS, you're probably thinking, oh, let's avoid these symptoms at all costs. If I flare up, this is not good. I probably screwed up. How did that shift as you learn more about the nervous system and realize it's part of the process?
So how did it shift? So as often as I possibly could, I tried to be kind to myself during those times. And just like the videos that I got to watch of other people going through it, there's a video of a fellow, and he had his sweater on. He's on the couch. He's like, I'm rocking this one. And so just seeing other people try to be joyful in the moment of I can't do anything else. I have to be on the couch, and this is what I've got today. And trying to bring your mindset to the best possible place you could be in with that. And I mean, and what that means to me is I can't make dinner for my kids. I can't have my kids today. I got to be alone today. But finding that path to the warmest place you can be in,
Mhm.
mentally with what you're dealing with, and having you show us videos of what that looks like, what that sounds like. That was instrumental. I mean, in instead of being miserable as you can be. Um, and it really helped too to understand that all this is normal, and helped for you to tell us all these weird symptoms, vertigo, all these weird symptoms are normal. And there was nobody else in my world that could say, hey, these are, and I did, it wasn't said to me, it was said to other people. I'm mainly a person that sits to the side and watches, listens to everybody else's what's going on, so I could pick up when somebody else had a symptom. Hey, I had that symptom too, and that it's not a big deal. You've seen it enough times, you're experienced with it. That helped me have a good mindset when these things came up. I just lean up and be dizzy, and so what? And just to know that that's okay, that all of this is okay,
Yeah.
instead of being that I'm going to read about this every night until the cows come home, and stress about it and worry about it. And with the headaches too, I mean, it's one-sided. You think, I don't have a stress headache, I have like some weird, I have a tumor on one side, or I have, I have something, MRI
Stroke.
me, find what's
Yeah.
going, this isn't a normal headache.
Yeah.
It didn't seem like nothing fits the box of what it should. So just knowing that it was all normal really helped.
Hmm. Yeah. That's what helps a lot of people. Like even with the headaches, I genuinely thought I had a stroke sometimes because the headache would be so bad I couldn't even walk straight or even hold my head straight. It's like I was crooked. And
Right.
it felt like half my body was paralyzed or kind of paralyzed. It was
Mhm.
numb. It was just really weird. And
Yeah.
obviously, you Google that, a stroke comes up. It's like immediately call 911 right now. Get to the hospital ASAP. So it puts ideas in your mind.
Yeah.
But once you realize, and of course, after you got all of this stuff checked out by doctors and nothing's showing up, then how you frame these flare ups and the perspective you have on them makes a huge difference. And I think it's the ultimate example of learning to smile in the rain. Because when the
Yes.
flare up comes, you know, you could be super upset about it, which is completely natural, or you could learn to just kind of accept it and realize that, just like you said, one, this is completely normal for somebody with a hypersensitive nervous system, but also the fact that it's temporary, that it's going to go away. Right? It may stick around for a few hours or a few days, but it will go away. We just need to ride this wave and not fall off the surfboard as we're
Right.
riding.
Right.
Because if you fall off, which is like a downward spiral, it takes so much energy to get momentum again,
Mhm.
versus just sticking with it and telling yourself, hey, it's temporary. This is actually part of the process.
Mhm.
So making sense of the symptoms is what really helps a lot of people too. When they can understand why they're there or why they're happening, it really helps take the teeth out of the monster.
Yeah.
So
Yes, it did.
yeah, yeah. So you made tons of progress because you started working with us about just over a year ago, right?
Mhm.
It
Mhm.
was in July,
Yeah.
somewhere around there of
Yeah.
last year. It's September now, so maybe 13, 14 months.
Yeah.
What's what is different now than a year and a half ago? What can you do now physically? And we'll start
Mhm.
there and then we'll talk about what you can do mentally and emotionally. But physically, what are the
Mhm.
biggest differences?
I can walk up a mountain. Um, I couldn't do that. I absolutely could not walk up a mountain. There was just no way I had the energy to, or if I did, um, go out mountain biking, yeah, I was throwing up with a headache. So now I can walk up a mountain there, and there's no whisper of a headache anymore.
And for
It's not
people
like it
watching,
is.
like for you people who think this is a metaphor or an analogy of walking up a mountain, no, this is literally walking up a mountain. Like
Yeah,
you're hiking up a mountain, right?
yeah, yeah. Um, So I live in a beautiful place, Highlands, North Carolina, and it's a hiking town, and and I can go out my back door and go up, and that's always what I've loved to do is climb. Not climb mountains. I would do it on a mountain bike, but now I do it walking, which is a step down. In probably in difficulty, but it's definitely it's a big deal for me. So,
Yeah, that's amazing.
physically, what else can I do? I can go and, like I said, I can go drive in an hour and a half and take care of my mom after surgery. I can be the one to get her food, and help her out for a day or two, versus arrive there, have a headache, be zero help to anyone, and make everybody feel bad because I just need to be in a room. um, so now I can help other people. Yeah. Yeah. Other physical things that I'm doing. Going to the gym.
Yeah, going to the gym and bringing your kids to soccer, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Walking the track for an hour and a half while my kids are at soccer, which is nothing. Just it's a flat track. So at least I feel like there's things that are nothing. That's nothing for me now.
Isn't that interesting how things that were like climbing were harder than climbing a mountain before? Now it's just like not even a second thought. It's like, let me just go walk. I don't even have to think about how far I'm walking or if it's too much or what are the consequences going to be. It feels nice to be able to just go walk for the sake of walking, just to get moving.
Yeah.
Right. And that was one of your goals, because I'm looking at your notes here when you right before you enrolled. One of the goals, or some of the goals and visions for your future when we asked you that, was, you'd love to be able to rock climb, to mountain bike, to hike, to be there for your sons. Now you're able to be there. Then one of the things you said was make your home a sanctuary and have energy to do it. And now you're cooking meals for the family, and you're able to do all that
right
without the fear of headaches, which is awesome.
Yeah. It's funny. My family still says, "Oh gosh, let me turn the music down for you." I'm like, "You don't have to do it anymore."
Yeah.
But it's funny. Yeah, I get to enjoy just something as simple as music.
It's funny because I'm the same way too. And in fact, I'm like opposite of how I was before. If I'm in my car and I'm playing music quite loud, my friends are the ones saying, "Okay, can you turn it down?" And I'm like, "No, we need to turn it up. It's not loud enough. Let's turn it up." Like the windows are down, sunroof open, blasting music. It's highly stimulating, and I'm loving it. And they're like, "This is too much, man." So I've become the guy who's trying to push my friends to do more and more. And it's like it seems like I have more capacity than them now. Or if they're tired and they want to call it a night, let's say we're in the backyard doing a bonfire. It's like 11 p.m. and they're like, it's tired. We should pack this up. I'm like, what? We're just getting started.
Good for you.
Come on, what's wrong with you guys? Whereas before, I would be like, I can't even make it to the bonfire. Sorry, you don't have fun. Now I'm the one trying to extend the whole thing. And I don't have any symptoms. I'm fine. So your world physically looks a lot different from just a year ago. How about emotionally and mentally? Like, has going through this journey changed the way you see the world and see life in general?
The way I see life, yes. It's no longer about doing as much as I possibly can until I fall over. I just don't go that far anymore. Ask me the question again.
Yeah, and I'll rephrase the question. What is the biggest difference, or what is different now than before in the way that you see the world and the way that you go through life? Like, for example, me, I would always go nonstop until I hit a wall, and I try to work as much as I could. I wouldn't take as much time for my family and friends because I was just working. I would always think in terms of, I need to be as productive as possible or else I'm wasting my time and potential. But now I'm able to take a day off and go
Yeah.
paddleboarding and go enjoy a sunset and just be present with my friends. I'm a lot more present now.
Yeah.
So for you, what are some of those things that are different?
I mean, I would say it's exactly the same. And I'm accepting that I'm accepting not working,
Yeah.
which is a really weird thing. Weird, because it led my life. Since that's just who I was from the second grade on, is work very hard. Um, uh, so yeah, work is not doing it. It's out there waiting for me as soon as I'm ready for it. But and that doesn't bother me a bit. It does bother other people a little bit. Um, my mother-in-law a little bit. Do you want to volunteer? Do you want to? And she's always trying to come up with little things for me to do to keep me happy because she cares about me. And so I think she's enjoyed, even in the past week, I was able to take her to a colonoscopy appointment, and I can be the one to do things like that instead. That's what is in my ability range right now, and right now I'm accepting that I am not working.
Yeah, I was very similar in the beginning. Although, even though I was from the outside looking in, I was working because I started my video business. I was a videographer, but to me
Mhm,
it was a hobby. And after recovering, it's almost like you get granted all of this freedom that you lost for so many years. So, you know, it really makes you just want to do things you enjoy doing. You don't want to do things because you have to. You want to do things because you enjoy them. So for me, it was perfect that I found a hobby that was able to generate some kind of income.
mhm,
But you just feel like you have this ultimate freedom, and
mhm,
it's like the world opens up because before you would have to think twice about doing something, or you couldn't even do certain things. Or if
mhm,
you did, you paid the price. Now it's like you could do all these things. You have this whole list of things you like to do.
mhm,
Um, I remember a lot of it was just not feeling obligated to do things, but doing them because I wanted to.
mhm.
It was nice to slow down or
Yeah.
even have some lazy days. Lazy days were so much fun.
Yep.
When I
Yep.
first got to the hospital,
Yeah.
old Miguel would not say that. That would
Yeah.
be painful to just sit on the couch and do nothing. So for people watching this and they're struggling and they're where you were a year and a half ago, they're in the trenches, they're trying to figure out what's going on. What is something you'd like to share with them? What is like a golden nugget of
Mhm.
inspiration or motivation that you want to share with them and they're listening to you right now?
Mm. It will happen. It will happen if you follow those steps that are set out there for you. It will happen. It will happen. A golden nugget.
Or just anything. Like if
Yeah.
someone was sitting in front of you right now and they had CFS and you know the journey they've been on, what do you want to share with them? It doesn't have to be anything specific, but
Yeah.
imagine you talking to yourself a year and a half ago.
It's okay to tell people. It's okay to use that video and send it to your closest friends. Use the video that you made, Miguel, that tells people about the disease. The people that are the support group for people with CFS. So it's okay to let people know around you so they can support you, and pick those couple main supporters in your life and let them know that they are your main supporter, and um, that that they have a job in your life, and that you really need their help. I think it helps to always have that person to go to call, to be there for you. The coaches are awesome for that too, but somebody in your personal life, if you can have them walk this with you and believe in you, because prior to this point, you don't know what's wrong with you. You just kind of are muddling through, but you kind of know now. And so just having somebody that can sort of hold your hand through it, find that person or people, and before you know it, um, before you know it, it'll be gradually over.
Mhm. What would you say to somebody who's on the fence of wanting to try something like this? The approach we have, the system we've built, and they're looking at it thinking, okay, this makes a little bit of sense. I see a lot of people getting better, but I don't know if it's going to work for me because I've tried so many things that didn't work in the past.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. How do you get off the fence? For me, I was one of those people that was just running towards you. There were no questions in my mind. It's like you were plunked into my life right when I really needed you most. I would say you're just going to have to take a step out there and try this one. The camaraderie, the level of information that you'll be getting from the program is, there's just no dollar amount that you can put on it. It's so helpful. How do you start running towards it? I don't know. Maybe keep dipping your toe into it if you're questionable, and keep watching, keep listening to the videos that are out there for you. Yeah. How could I turn somebody around? That's a tough one.
Well, you don't even have to turn them around. It's just like, what would you share with them? But you did kind of share it. We'll cut that up. Of, you know, you were one of the people, and there's a lot of them who just, once it clicked and it made sense, it was like, let's do it. Because why
Yeah.
not? What other choice do I really have? I mean, what I'm doing currently isn't working. This seems to be helping people. Why would I not do it?
Yeah.
You know?
Why would I not do it?
Yeah. So
yeah, there was just, I wasn't in, wasn't that person that had any question mark.
oh, sorry, I thought you were going to say something. Yeah. No, that's great. That's great. But my last question, so far, would you say it's been a good investment into the program?
Yes. Yeah. That's amazing. It's an amazing program. I would give anything to have gotten in that program. Yeah. To be able to complete this program, there's nothing more important in my life at that point.
Well, is there anything else you want to share with people, or you're pretty good?
I think I'm good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, for you guys watching right now, hope you enjoyed this chat about Leah's recovery. Again, you know, she was dealing with a lot of pain for 8 years, headaches, migraines, nausea from the pain, which is very frustrating if you're someone who's dealing with pain, but literally hiking up mountains, mountain biking, just very active again. And she doesn't even need to think twice about if it's going to set off a headache. So she's out there thriving right now. She's crushing it. You know, this was all turned around in about a year or just over a year.
Yeah.
So if this is inspiring to you guys, you know, watch this one over again and just know that this is possible for you as well. As long as you've gotten all your tests and scans done by doctors and they can't find anything, even if you've been diagnosed with CFS or even fibromyalgia, you know, you can absolutely turn this around and get your life back just like Leah did. So hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this one, comment down below your biggest takeaway, your favorite part. And always remember that you are a thriver and you are just one mind shift away from living life with thriving health. So we will see you guys in the next video. Leah, thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you, Miguel. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Take it easy.